also realized that I can have up to 6 people on the free StreamYard account too, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I jumped in and did the I think it's like $25 a month version, and I think I can have up to 10, but I can only broadcast at a maximum of 720, and I don't like that. So I don't know. I'm kind of thinking about dropping it to the free. I mean, you get that little powered by, symbol up there at the top, but I mean, hey, it saves $25 a month.
Yeah. No, I mean, oh man, I'm losing like around $200 a fortnight just on childcare at the moment. So like, I've got no spare money for stuff like this.
Yeah. Yeah. I get it. I mean, it's kind of the same with us. I mean, we've got 2 kids. One's about to turn 20. The other just turned 16. And our auto insurance went from, we were paying about $480 a month. It skyrocketed to about $680 a month. So it went up about $200. And it's like, God bless. That's just, I gotta have, I either need one kid to move out or a job to a fourth job.
Oh man, I feel you on that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Although it's kind of funny because when we moved from, hold on. Hi everyone, stream is now live. How's everyone doing? Yep. So when we moved from where I used to live to where we are living now for the last 2 years, the council rates changed by $100, and it's like I went from being generous, a 2-bedroom unit to a 3-4 bedroom house, and the council rates changed by $100.
Go up or
went up?
Yeah.
And I'm on like 800 square meters of property here instead of like the again, being generous, 2-bedroom unit I was in. Me and Grim were in, and it's just like, well, now I've got a front yard, a backyard, and a side yard.
Now, how much maintenance do you have to do on the yard? Like, do you have to get out and cut the grass, or is there, is it?
No.
Just let it grow.
I can just do whatever I want.
No, I know. I mean, yeah, I can too. But I mean, like my wife. I mean, she insists that the yard look nice, and she wants a flower bed, and that kind of stuff.
Oh man, I mean, Grim has like a pot set aside, a plot set aside, where she like has tried to not has tried, but is like growing. Is growing like some vegetables and flowers and things like that.
Tomatoes, yeah, awesome.
Yeah, but like for the most part, we just kind of mow the grass and that's it. The kids kind of destroy everything else. So
sure,
yeah,
it's what kids do.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I think my son at one point, we didn't have a metal detector, but he was pretending that he had a metal detector and was digging holes in the yard. Yeah.
Oh, I have strong memories of when I was a kid going to when we would go to the beach on vacation, getting like a large enough stick and like going along the beach pretending I had a metal detector, and then every so often just digging a hole into the sand and then just continuing. So like I'll just leave behind me this trail of just holes.
That's great.
I approve that method. That's awesome.
It was even better because it was one of those beaches people could drive along.
And how big were these holes?
I mean, like a couple of feet, wide and deep.
I was going to give you
don't-
the benefit of the doubt and say, "quote unquote" toddler sized.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's kind of where I was. I mean, that's all, I saw here at my house, but wow, that's ambitious.
Oh no! By the time I was 3, I dug a hole in the backyard of the house I grew up in. So big, it was about, uh, being fair, about 2 meters across and about 2 feet deep.
Oh, wow.
And the grass there never recovered. I went Roman on that on that part of the backyard.
I think somewhere at one of my houses, I don't know, I was probably 12 or 13, but so like in grade school, you had those crayon boxes that were made out of aluminum, just metal, crayon boxes. And somewhere I've got Han Solo, Chewbacca, a deck of playing cards, and I remember this all very clearly, and like 2 $1 bills that I buried at the base of a tree. I just can't remember which house it was. I remember what was in it, and I remember that it was at the base of a tree, but I can't remember which house it was. Nor can I remember why exactly I did that.
Well, do you remember? Oh, I don't even remember the movie, but there was some movie with this kid, and he'd be playing with his GI Joes, and they would die, and so he would like give full military honors burials to the GI Joes out in the yard, and then it climaxes in the movie. There's like some thunderstorm, and the kid's freaking out, and he has to go rescue his GI Joes. So he's out there in the rain and the mud, I could not tell you what movie it is, though.
It sounds vaguely familiar, but yeah, I can't.
That sounds like one of those things that Australia didn't get. Like a lot of these FASA RPG books, I think we got like 1 or 2. We definitely didn't get like the Star Trek one and like all this other stuff. But it sounds like one of those things I wish I had seen because I feel like I've missed out on something. Damn the 80s and no internet. Instant transmission, damn it.
Well, that's all changed now.
Have you not seen one of like an Australian live broadcast from somewhere else in the world? It really hasn't changed. They would probably get the trends. They'd probably like be receiving the image fast if they like sent it via post.
I don't know. Isn't Sky News based out of Australia?
No, I think that's UK.
Oh, is it UK?
They might have an Australian brand.
Yeah,
division.
I think it's the one on YouTube that I watch is Australian.
Oh god.
But they do a lot of heavy commentary on US politics and
and have a very definitive opinion about Australia and Australian politics.
Well, that's the weird thing is I haven't ever seen it delve into Australian politics, and I'm like, that's just really weird. They're always talking about US politics, but not
really.
I mean, well, the episodes that I've seen anyway.
Yeah, because I wonder if they're doing that thing where like they show Australian stuff to like people in Australia, and then US stuff to people in the US, and then UK stuff to people in the UK.
That's possible.
Well,
I mean,
because
now
if it's just on YouTube, you can watch quote unquote whatever they put up there.
Yeah.
So it's probably just like, oh, I would be more interested in this video as opposed to, and the Outback today. We're just like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm kind of looking over a couple of their things. They've got, I mean, it looks like the past, aside from the most recent one where they talk about some of the Olympics, actually, no, it does tie into the royal family. It looks like the past 8, 9, 10 are all about UK information. So I don't watch it that often. I mean, I watch it, but it's just, it doesn't pop up on my For You stuff on YouTube all that often.
I only ever hear about it when they've done something colossally stupid and every other network is talking about it. Like when Sky News was saying about how like this protest in Australia was like as bad as the BLM riots over in America, and like people are rioting and looting, and like they do everything but show real hard like evidence of this.
Right.
And then you see every other news channel's coverage of it. And keep in mind, a lot of them are Murdoch based. So, you know, there's not a lot of bias against Sky News. But you look at them showing it, and it's like people are just walking down the street, and then they're in front of, like, you know, the state parliament house, and they're just standing there. There's no rioting. There's no up in arms. There's no people like with cricket bats beating each other. Like,
You mean almost like people were walking along the velveted rope walkway, and you know,
yes, almost like they're walking along where they're meant to be walking along, and but no, it's rioting, don't you know? And it's just like this is why like only a small percentage of Australians pay attention to Sky News, because they're insane.
That's their definition of rioting, is just people walking along.
Yes.
Wow. We have a wildly different definition of it here in the States.
We just call it wild or fiery, but mostly peaceful.
I don't know. I think we've had our fair share of some pretty dramatic riots.
Oh, come on. I'm being hilarious here with, you know, vaguely alluded to biases, but whatever. Guess I'm not that funny. No,
Oh, I'm laughing now.
Yes, Slan, it was that bad. It was just pandemonium.
They weren't even in the street, getting in the way of traffic.
People could get past them. How dare they? Yeah. So, how are you guys doing? What's been new over the last week?
Brian's mad at me now. No, after yesterday.
You're mad at yourself? Oh yeah.
No.
Yeah. So I'm sitting here editing a video, right? And I get this message on Discord, and of course it dings, you know, because I've got my headphones on and I've got the volume up because I'm trying to listen to my own audio. And I get this ding, and I'm like, oh, okay, let me check it out. And Brian from ADHD sends over. Shall I pull it up? Sends over some images that he had gone. I don't guess it wasn't thrift shopping.
Oh, I mean, okay.
It was
sort of thrift shopping, yeah. But no, I get what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah, and so anyway, he sends over. He picked up Dragonborn.
I actually didn't buy them. They were just on the shelf. But it was more a reference to last week's topic, where we're talking about how, you know, all they're doing is adventures. You know, it would be really cool if they did just like these little inexpensive books.
Yeah. So 4th edition had created like player's handbook races. Oh, yeah, they actually called them races back then. and there were 2 of them. One was for tieflings. I mean, it was a dedicated book for tieflings. The other was a dedicated player's handbook races for Dragonborn. How many pages would you say each book was?
They're like an old school D&D module, maybe 64 pages or something.
Yeah,
I didn't look specifically.
So like for $10 each, right? And then I'm like, whoa, what? And then I made mention, you know, in the 9 or 10 years that I've lived where I've lived, I probably hit, you know, Goodwill, a couple of thrift stores. We've got like, I don't know, 5 or 6 different thrift stores in this tiny little town. And I hit them almost every single weekend. And I have only ever found a Pathfinder 1st edition book and the red box D&D starter box for 4th edition. and that's it. And then he sends over, and this is what got me. He sends over this massive picture. Hold on, let me see if I can figure out. I'll send it over to you, Seraphis, if you want to share it with anybody. But he sends over this picture that's just a wall of books, D&D books that are just what?
Now, keep in mind, what I sent was most of a rack unit.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to like not include the people that were standing like right at the end of the rack unit. So we'll say it's about like 2/3 of the rack unit. And there's 2 full rack units side by side.
Yeah.
That's all are like gaming style books. They just label it RPGs, but it's Warhammer or D&D or whatever.
Yeah. So what you're saying is the photo that you sent me, that's just a fraction of what they have.
That's about 1/3 of the wall, quote unquote.
I mean, it's almost worth it. It would almost be worth it for me to cruise out there and with a pocket full of cash that I don't have. God, I mean, that just would be so awesome to run across something like that. It looks like the majority of what they have is all 4th edition.
No.
I mean, I'm saying just in the photo. I mean, I do see some 3rd edition in there. I do see some AD&D.
There's 2E, there's 3E, there's
my God. What are their prices on some of the 2E stuff?
It depends.
I mean, okay. Is it reasonable, or is it like we're doing eBay prices?
Hold on. I'll be right back.
All right.
It doesn't look like I can share the screen. That sucks.
That's one thing I don't like about StreamYard is it doesn't let you share like on the fly stuff very easily.
Especially not on free.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the crazy thing about this place. You like, first off, maybe eBay prices. Sometimes you're looking at stuff, you're like, I'm not going to pay that. That's dumb. Right. But then sometimes it's like, I can go. I am interested in that, and I'm interested at that price. But it's like, we'll use this as an example. Okay. Mm-hmm. However, notice how full it is.
It's got a lot in it. Yeah.
It's sets 1 through 5. This was $30.
Wow.
And I keep trading stuff in to the shop. So I'm sitting on like $400 in credit right now. So this technically was nothing out of my pocket. My wife is like, well, no, but you had to spend the money to get the stuff that you traded in. And I'm like, that is a sunk cost fallacy. That money was spent years ago. That doesn't count. It's out of the garage.
No, that would have been a no-brainer for me too. Yeah. Even if it was $50.
Well, you're lucky you're a Mormon ninja because
I also got these. I think one was 30, one was 20.
Come on, man, you're killing me.
Yeah. So you now, Seraphis, you see my reaction. You understand why my reaction was. I think it's awesome though that stores like that still exist. They even have Top Secret, the box set.
Well, they did. I already got it.
Okay. Well, they had it. Brian bought it.
God.
2300 AD. That was a sealed box. That was actually kind of funny. And I think it was like $30, and then it had 3 extra modules in it. So it is brand new.
Wow.
Oh, and the Top Secret box still had its dice in a sealed bag.
Do you ever see over there? Do you ever see like sealed boxes of Magic cards?
No, they keep that in a different spot. And I usually don't look in that spot. So
I'd just be curious if they have like, you're going to accidentally run across a booster pack of Legends for like $10.
That's the crazy thing is maybe it's really like the funny thing is I have never seen a bookstore or a used shop like this anywhere. Half price books is probably the closest I've ever seen, and they're nowhere near as good at all. So
it's not too bad, Tori. But then again, it probably doesn't help that my internet is Australian, so you know, I need to wait for the ferry to arrive with the bit information. But next time you put up you send a message, I'll put it up as quickly as I can, so you can see how quick the response is.
Wow, Grumpy Old Slan, true story, found a binder of magic cards on the side of the road once. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, especially if it was some of that old classic stuff.
Why? What? Why?
I had a mailman bring me a Pokemon card, single Pokemon card. I don't remember which one it was, but he said that he found it sitting on top of somebody's mailbox. And he knew that I was into, gaming, so. Yeah, T and Tori and I, we did a live stream a few nights back. She was using OBS, and it was on my side. It was super simple. She, I guess, did a lot of setup on her side, but it went through Discord. So all I did was just kind of join a Discord call, and she did the rest. It was very cool for me, anyway.
Yeah. The only problem I'm having at the moment with doing either OBS or Prism is that it really wants me to have a second screen, and I don't have a second screen, and so I got to save up for a second screen.
Yeah.
But I've got two under 10 children, and that costs a lot of money.
Yeah, I get it. Brian, have you ever used OBS for live streaming?
I use it every single time.
Okay, so how does it work if you want to have like multiple people join in on the fly, like how Seraphis is doing this?
All I do is I use it as a virtual camera, because basically it's so that I get the background and then the green screen so that you don't see the wall,
right?
And then I've got you'll notice that my hands disappear on the side, basically, because the camera would pick up actually, I'll show you my janky ass painting setup,
right,
in the screen. So I use OBS for all of that filtering.
Okay.
Then just started as a virtual camera, and then tell StreamYard this is the camera source to use, as opposed to just going straight
from the camera. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I kind of jumped into using StreamYard. Bear, the Gen X GM is what he was known as when I started. Kind of got me introduced to how to use StreamYard, and it's very intuitive. I like that when people in the chat say something, if there's something interesting to call out, it's just a click of a button to highlight it, on the screen. And I think that's probably the number one reason that I like it over OBS, because and maybe OBS has that option. I just haven't run into it in the little bit of research. Of course, I've only kind of looked at OBS for in the past 3 or 4 days. So I haven't done a lot of research on it.
It might, but I haven't done a lot of research either. For me, like I said, I mostly do it. So, like I said, setting up the filtering, or if I'm going to do when I'm doing my painting stream.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
I can start like this, and then I can just, click of a button and it switches over to this. So, or if I'm doing an RPG review, then I can switch over to here and, pull up a PDF or whatever. So I've got a few different, and they're just already preset scenes and layers. So I just click a button and done.
And I've seen too, some people will do where they've got the chat that kind of scrolls live in the stream itself.
I've seen it. I have no idea how to do it.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, I've already
it's
worked that one out.
It's probably an OBS plugin or something, but
That's what I would assume. Yeah.
It's a feature though as part of Prism, so there's that at least.
I don't.
Yeah. See, I'm getting.
What is Prism?
Prism is basically another version of OBS, but it's got some of the plugins already part of it, and it's got some of its own unique things.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm getting old. I need technology to go simple, not I don't want 3 different programs to have to run, one simple, hey guys, here I am. Let's check out the latest and greatest in the role-playing world. I don't want that many programs just to be able to do that.
Yeah, well, and also for like for my videos, it's like I'm either streaming and boom, done, or it's like I record in one take. I don't edit anything because I'm a disaster as it is. So, you'll notice like there will be mistakes in my videos, but as long as they're not in like the first 30 seconds and I feel like I sound like an idiot, then I'll stop and just restart it.
Yeah.
But otherwise, if I make a mistake 5 minutes in, unless it's like a complete disaster.
Yeah.
No. My favorite is when I go through and I record an entire video and then I look up and I didn't start the recording.
Oh, I can't tell you how many times I've done that. No, I mean I'm a fan of that style of video, and I try my best to do it that way. I don't like. I'll use Mr. Beast. I mean, his videos are entertaining, but I couldn't watch that over and over and over. It just there's too much stuff going on screen. My attention span is not that short, and I prefer much more the style like what you do, where you try to do it all in one take. But I also too I like to see mistakes, small ones, big ones, whatever, because that's real, that's genuine, it's authentic. And, it depends on what the mistakes are. I'll scrub them out on mine, when I'm editing and stuff. But when I'm doing a live stream, obviously that's live and, mistakes are mistakes. So,
well, and that's the advantage of YouTube. The highly produced and the really cool looking videos are nice, but it's like, okay, great. You've got a massive team behind you, but you get a little bit more passion, you get a little bit more interest when it's the people that are, I'm doing this because it's fun. Yeah. Or I went to the used bookstore, check out the cool thing that I found for, a third of what it should normally cost. Yeah. I made Seraphis mad at the video I posted yesterday.
Shatterpoint is over $200 here.
I know. It's $165 here. Dude, trust me. And that one was funny. That one actually was a funny find because it wasn't even on the shelf. It was in the back. I'm like, hey, has that been processed? He's like, yeah. I'm like, can I see it? Cool. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get this. He's like, cool, I'll put it up at the counter for you. Sounds good.
Yeah, we don't have a shop like that here.
Looking at that picture you sent, just and the Monster Compendium freaking binder, that stuff that I know people who have collected stuff from that after the fact in later years from America, like my 3.5 GM, but I have never seen that stuff in any shop here before. Even going back to the 2000s,
well, and
1998, when we were doing BattleTech and Shadowrun, and we were going to the one store in town. And, I've never seen that stuff before. Now I have all the PDFs.
I can only imagine, the scarcity and how rare specifically the AD&D stuff is in Australia. I mean, other parts of the world too, but I just can only imagine. I mean, it's hard for me to find here, but yeah, I mean, how many people in Australia, played AD&D stuff that kept it in decent enough condition to where, they are no longer with us, but I don't know what to do with it, so let's just go give it and donate it to a thrift store. How often do you run across something like that in Australia? That specific scenario.
Well, unfortunately, I can only weep at the fact that we first came across AD&D at our high school, and it was in bad condition then.
Yeah.
So it's probably disintegrated by now.
Right.
So that breaks my heart. How are you, Tori?
I'm good. I don't. You guys normally do this for an hour, so I think you've got 30 left. So that's about how long I have. Is about 30 to 40 minutes. But
that's okay.
I finally got the cat off my lap. She's been going off. You know what she does in stream sometimes? So she's been doing that for like the last 2 hours, and I was trying to keep her from waking up the other half, and so I had to provide lap. So she finally got off and settled. So I was like, "Oh, I'm free. I can go get up," because I was out in the listening on my phone. I'm just sitting there on my phone, like I got a big old TV in front of me. I'm on my phone. So millennial, I guess.
Oh,
I'm not a millennial, but I've been there.
Yeah, me too. We're
doing a family breakfast. There's a local brewery that we have that they do a breakfast that Steve's all excited about. I guess it's like, what did he call it? Cowboy something sunrise. It's like orange juice and mimosa or something. I don't know, but he's all excited about it. They're going out there, and I figured I'd go along for the ride because why not? Yeah. Also, I'm kind of like experiencing SteamYard on the back end. So, because I was chatting at you guys that whole time because I had to switch from Prism to OBS because it couldn't handle some of the games. And since games are a larger portion of my channel, it's like, okay, that's kind of a deal breaker. But I saw something. So what I was doing, just for anyone who behind the curtain, I actually just used Discord. Like it was just Discord. It was just a video chat in Discord. And then I was using OBS to screen record the video from the Discord call. And that's such a roundabout way of doing it. I think that's why we ran into such a long delay in tech issues, because I was like really doing two separate processes there. But there's another StreamYard-esque site that I found where you can do video call like this, but then you take the URL from the individual people, and you in OBS, when you create a new scene, when you add a new layer to that scene, you can pick like window capture, application capture, and one of those is browser. So you put the URL directly into it, and it just puts a box with that URL directly onto the OBS scene. So that's what I think I'm going to try next time, just to see how it goes. Yeah.
That's one of the ones I was looking at too. I think I know the one you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, depending on what you're doing, if it weren't for those handful of games, I'd still be using Prism. Like literally the only complaint I ever had about Prism is that in all of the YouTube videos, it would put a little hashtag Prism Studio thingamajigger in the description. And even if you delete it, it still appears there. That was didn't like that, but that's a minor gripe. It's really a much more user-friendly. Like having the built-in chat and all of that was really nice.
Well, it's like StreamYard. I mean, just look up in the corner. It's got the powered by StreamYard until you start paying them. So
yeah, over there. Yeah. Well, I guess it's that way.
I know. Yeah, pointing in StreamYard is never easy.
It's like everything is backwards, so I'm like, oh. So.
Right, my wife's in the kitchen.
For you, shouldn't it be right way for me because Australia?
I guess, yeah. I'm very ignorant to well, I know my local area. That's all I'm familiar with. So I don't always follow all of the jokes about other areas because I'm not world weary enough I'm too sheltered.
Okay, but the joke is Australia is upside down. So
Yes, you are.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
and that's not really a joke. That's just a statement of fact. So the real question, though, Tori, is there a good used bookstore in your area?
So yes, there's like a couple, sort of. So, my personal favorite, because it's the define good. See, parameters and definitions matter. There's one that's like nicer, like more professional. Like you walk in and it almost feels like a Borders, and they have some used books, but they have a lot of new books. It's just like a bookstore. But there's one that, and I'm pretty sure they're still around. It was basically one guy and his dog, and that's it. And it was in this like the buildings that it was in between. So it's in downtown, which that section is built kind of almost Old West, where all the building, like it's one big building with just separators between them, and you've got like a storefront that you walk past, but most of it's very rundown looking. Like like in the area that it's in, the buildings next to it are very run down. You wouldn't even really know it was there. But I used to walk around there, so I stopped in one day, and it's literally like no it's hard to explain. There's like no organization to it. No, yeah, it wouldn't have anything like that. Like picture like somebody's basement just stuffed with books. I mean, like just wall, floor to ceiling, wall to wall, just like stacked on top of each other. And then he ran out of room, so there's tubs of books. And I mean, you walk in, and the walkway's like this narrow because there's.
What are your chances of finding like any D&D stuff there?
I don't think so. It's mostly like novels. It's
worthless.
Yeah, you bring stuff in and you get credits. So you don't get money if you bring books in. You bring books in and then you get credits, and then you spend those credits in the store. But it's very much I love the feel of it, because you walk in and it's even got like this old musty kind of smell to it. And it's what I picture like a dream used bookstore to be. But I don't know that they have like gaming stuff in there.
It sounds like the kind of bookstore you'd find the Never-Ending Story in.
Yeah. I should go there and then take pictures for you guys. I should find out. I think the guy that owned it, and he used to bring in his dog all the time, and it was just him and his dog. I mean,
that sounds exactly like Never-Ending Story.
Yeah.
I have not seen that since I was like 8, so I don't know.
You mean you don't own? Oh wait, no, you're probably too young to actually be that dedicated to own it on DVD or Blu-ray or something, huh?
Oh, my family does.
Or VHS. Oh, no,
yeah. I have it on VHS.
We had those when I was little. I'm not a movie person, so I will like watch a movie one time because I like have to, and then I don't watch it again or anything. So it's been way too. All I remember about the Never-Ending Story was crying my eyes out and being petrified at the horse in the swamp. The horse dying in the swamp. That's it. That's all. And the kids screaming bloody murder. That's all I remember.
Poor Artex.
I know. Oh.
The feels are real.
Yeah, it was. As a child, that's kind of traumatizing.
But then I just think that Atreyu got a robot monkey dog, so you know. And if you understand that joke, you're really old.
I'm old.
Yeah, I'm only 32, 3. I don't know. I'm between 30 and 35.
Kids these days, jeez.
Yeah, because I don't actually know how old you guys are. Wait, this way, that way. I can't point. I don't know how old you guys are. I'm terrible. I can't like, you know how some people look at a person and they're like, oh, someone old. I can't do that. Like there's like people that are younger than me. There's everyone else in between, and then people who are like older. Usually I just make the distinction whether or not they have like gray beards like Game Masters does. That's like the only, I'm terrible. I can't do ages.
I'm not 40 yet.
So you're not that much older than me.
That
Wait a
yet is doing a
Still
lot
old.
of heavy
No,
lifting,
just
though.
kidding.
Yeah.
You mean you've been 29 a few times now? Thanks, Grumpy. It depends. There are days where I act like I'm 29 still, and but hate my 20s. I was a total dummy. My only solace is that everyone was dumb in their 20s.
Yes.
Um,
Actually, it was kind of funny. A lady that would bring her kids into a game store that I worked at part time for a while. I always like the way that she put it. She's like, "I'm 29 with 11 years of experience."
Yeah. Don't have kids yet, and I feel like that would probably have an impact on your emotional maturity level and such. So I don't know. I never wanted kids. They're too much work.
Yes. There's nothing incorrect in that statement.
I concur.
It's a hard selling point when in fact I was watching a video about this that was talking about dropping fertility rates and how other countries are getting to the point where they're providing financial incentive to people to try and encourage them to have kids because the birth rates are so low, and various people all over the place are like discussing why that is. And it's like, I mean, I can only speak for me, but when all you hear are horror stories and how people have no lives, and you don't get to hear a whole lot of the good stuff, the benefits, you just get to hear about how much work and effort it is, not to mention, yes, expense. I mean, when you're barely making your house payment, you're just comfortably making your house payment, adding a kid onto that is like, that's not even fathomable. And so and living conditions, I didn't even have a place to live, where I could have a kid until just 2 years ago. So
Except when you hit 50, 60, 70 years old, you've got to have somebody that's going to take care of you. That's where having kids is the benefit. Having multiple ones gives you a choice.
If one doesn't come out right, you've got backups. Is that?
That's right.
So so coming from a faith tradition that is very much about family and kids and whatnot, I will say that to me, there is like
supposedly.
Supposedly, yeah.
Yes.
There
Yes,
is
of
a
course.
massive shift in your mindset. Like you can look at other people's kids and it's like, I don't want anything to do with that. Those are horrible creatures. Keep them away from me. But it is completely like I've seen people that like they hate kids, but then they have their own kid and it completely shifts their mentality.
Mm.
No, or you're Seraphis, one of the two.
I mean, maybe I'm not. There's a concern that I have, and I've had conversations with others about this. But one big motivator for me is this pressure that if I'm gonna have kids, I have to have kids like now because I'm getting too old already.
Yes,
and it's like that just makes me not want to have kids. Like I have this thing where I don't even want to think about it because it's already too late. I'm already too old. I've already given up. And then people look at me and they're like, you're not even 35. Like you're fine. You still have a couple of years left and a lot can change in a year. And I'm like, I don't know. It really genuinely feels like I'm too old already.
Tori, I will give you a piece of advice. If you want to have kids, get in before you're 35.
Oh, see?
She's already 35. You're saying it's too late, Seraphis.
Well, yes.
No.
Well, first things first, I'd like to actually be technically married first. So that's kind of on the to-do list, but that's a whole nother. I mean, I've lived with this guy for years and I've been with him for over a decade now, but technically speaking, we're not actually married yet. And I kind of wanted to check that off the to-do list first. But we went out and we looked.
That's an easy part. Just say it.
Well, so we went out. He picked out a ring and he had me looked at it because he was concerned I wouldn't like it. Which okay, fine. So, and it turns out, so he picked one out, and I was away doing something else, and then I came back, and he said, okay, these rings over here, which one of these would you pick if you had to pick your favorite? And he was basically testing me to see which one I picked and which one he picked. And it turns out the very first one I picked was the one that he picked, so that was a plus. But then we looked at the price tag, and it's easily the cost of 2 months of mortgage payment just for one ring. And we were like, I'd rather pay the mortgage for 2 months. So that has been the next hurdle, trying to get over that, is like the price barrier is extreme, unless of course he just straight up goes with something cheaper, but I think he doesn't really want to do that. I don't know.
We spent like $500 on my wife's wedding ring.
Oh, see, now that it was a lot cheaper.
That was also 25 years ago.
Oh, well. Well, and I mean, I told him not to look at like, because where we are was like we were at like Riddler's, I think. I don't know if they're all over the place or just here, but like it's like a nicer place with like way more expensive jewelry. It's like a higher end place. And I told him, I was like, you don't have to be shopping here. Like I don't want like a cheap piece of plastic, sure, but you don't need to spend over $4,000 on a ring. That's way too much. That's way too much.
You're gonna laugh at this. You're gonna laugh at this. Costco.
Oh, I believe it.
I was going to say just the 25-cent machine at Walmart, as you're walking out the door.
Also an option, but what Costco, because the catch to Costco is it's usually like brand stuff, but it's like there's like so fancy mall store jewelry company, whatever. And they're supposed to have, say, 10 copies per store, but now there's like 10 copies left, and so then they sell them to Costco. And so then Costco basically just clears them out. They're actually still really good quality, but they're also a lot cheaper.
Okay, I'll pass that along because he actually likes Costco. I don't, but I refuse to step foot there pretty much.
Costco's amazing.
$1.50
hot dogs.
And you can eat food sample buffet.
So
that's not as good as it used to be, but I get your point.
Yeah,
it's been a while since
I've done it. Is that a thing? Like where the sample, there's like less of them, and they like, is that just at our local store? Because I feel like when I was little and my grandparents used to take me into the old Costco, it was like there was a sample booth like every aisle, and now it's like there might be one in like 6.
Yeah, no, it's that way everywhere. But I know what you're talking about. Yeah, like you could go and like, we're gonna have lunch at Costco. We're not buying anything, but we're gonna have lunch at Costco.
Yeah. Maybe that's the reason they stopped doing it. I don't know. Everything's more expensive now.
Yeah. So, but except the hot dogs, which are still $1.50.
And just to make the guy feel good, yeah, we'd put the frozen thing in the basket and then walk around the aisle and put it back in the car in the display case.
I don't know if your guys' Costco was like this, but when I was little, so we had two. So Costco is in one location, and then they built a new building, and then they moved because of all the growth that happened here. So when I was little, it was a little bit different, but every time we went there, all of the people that gave the samples were like old ladies. Like, did anyone else?
It's still mostly the old ladies.
Okay. That was another thing that I noticed. It's kind of like when I got older, it started making me a little bit uncomfortable. It was like, is there like a cloning machine I don't know about? Like why is it only this type of person? Told them it was the store for giants. Yeah. No, when I was little, it was entertaining.
I because we recently got a Costco in my little part of the world, and I don't know whether we're getting the same quality, I'm going to put in very large quotations, as you guys, but I do not like the taste of their food. I don't like it.
Like, are you talking like the food court food, or are you talking like, oh, I bought some chicken there, I don't like the chicken that we got?
Both.
Oh.
Like
Maybe there is
it-
a difference.
See, I've heard some people who have been to America and who have had Costco from the new store, our GM, for example, and he says it tastes the same. So it's the same kind of food, but to me, it it tastes disgusting.
Maybe
So I apologize, but I can't stand the taste of American food.
I was gonna say maybe it's just American food you don't like.
I don't think they're importing. I don't know if they'd be importing as much though.
Given the size of the items that they have and the brands, I would say they probably are importing.
So we just recently got what's called Aldi's here in our town. And
ALDA?
yeah, ALDI.
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 Oh, yeah.
And there's two different brands of Aldi's. There's a German brand, and then there is a UK brand or something to that.
No. Hold on.
What is it?
Have you seen The Fat Electrician?
No.
Okay, apparently Tian Tori knows what I'm talking about. He did a whole video about it.
Okay.
It's German.
Okay.
Eventually, and it was started by two brothers after World War II.
Right.
Eventually, one of them's like, I want to sell cigarettes. The other one's like, no, we're not selling cigarettes. Huh. Fine, we're going to split the company. I'm going to take the north half of the country. You're going to take the south half.
That's it.
One
yeah.
sells cigarettes, one doesn't. Eventually, they wanted to come to the United States. The problem is, because of trademark law and whatnot, you can't have Aldi and Aldi. Huh, so what are we going to do? Oh, we're going to do Aldi and Trader Joe's. So they're the same thing. But
Okay.
yeah, that's
So yeah, okay. So that makes sense. So overseas it's like Aldi SC or Aldi AB or something like that. It's really weird. But what I have noticed is a lot of the foods that we have are that's in our Aldi's, it is German imported. And the ingredients are wildly different than what American ingredients would be. For example, like your Cheetos, they've got an Aldi's brand Cheeto. So in America, I think the coloring is
toxic. I mean,
like,
wait,
it's like yellow. Yeah. Like yellow number 10 or something like that. But the coloring that they use for the Aldi one is like, it's derived from turmeric. Turmeric is an antioxidant, or an oxidant rather, an anti-inflammatory. I don't know. I think I'd rather go for the one that's derived from a natural source as opposed to a chemical one myself. And I think that the Aldi brand tastes better than Cheetos, and I like Cheetos, or I liked Cheetos.
The link that I posted is the episode that Gaming with ADHD was talking about. It's really good stuff. Like
real quick, if you're sensitive, he swears a lot.
More than me?
I don't. A lot.
Yeah.
Hey, I've only counted one swear word in today's stream, by the way.
Yeah, but like I try to clean myself up with go around, so
oh, come on. Don't use me as an excuse.
I was gonna say, as soon as Game Master said that, I had to seriously fight the urge to lean forward into my mic and just string out a bunch of F-bombs just for the hilarity of
Again, there's only been one swear word said today.
I was gonna say, I've been on streams with Bear. You all know how that man talks.
Oh yeah. I know. I try to do better now, but sometimes when I'm not paying attention, or if I've had a little bit to drink, it starts coming back out. Because I used to work all of the jobs I've worked with technicians in a warehouse, in retail, and just like people who are kind of spiritually dead inside mostly. So there's lots of language and jokes, and then just straight up weirdness that doesn't really qualify as cussing or badger. Like there was one day, so I actually found Rick and Morty first, and then I got my better half into it back when we worked in the warehouse, retail warehouse. And so I got him into it. He got his buddies into it. And I walked back in there one day, and we're doing trucks. So it's like 4 or 5 people all doing the Mr. Meeseeks voice all at the same time, all at max volume. So you just open the warehouse doors, and it's just a cacophony of Mr. Meeseeks, look at me. It was just, oh my gosh. Weird stuff like that. Oh, I'll never forget that. Have you guys seen Rick and Morty? Do you know the Mr. Meeseeks voice?
I don't.
my
I've seen Rick and Morty. I don't know what you're talking about.
If
It's
Grim was here, she would be able to say yes because she's got a top of 2 Mr. Mix6, whatever,
Meeseeks.
giving each other therapy lessons or sessions rather.
So you've heard the voice at least, like it's I'm Mr. Meeseeks, look at me. Only it's like way higher pitched than that and really obnoxious. Mr. Meeseeks, look at me. Yep, there, intellectual quandary. But yeah, weird stuff.
Hello, IQ. Yep.
That's quiet.
Well, I know we're coming up on the hour, which is coming on midnight for me, and I know Game Masters is going off for leisure time in a non-weird way. You're going to see Deadpool and Wolverine. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, we're not going to be. Yeah.
So yeah.
Just in time for intellectual quandary to get here.
Yep.
I always hate that when that happens to me. I'm like, I'm here. And they're like, oh, we're leaving. And I'm like, oh. It's because I came here, isn't it?
Story of my life.
Hey, mine too.
We're all nerds together. That's the fun part.
Well, yeah, we'll be doing this again next week, so
yeah.
Always plenty of stories to bring for the
same bat time, same bat channel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might find something at the used bookstore to make y'all angry with next week.
Nice.
I find that extremely possible.
Bonus points if it's AD&D related.
More bonus points if it never came to Australia.
Even more bonus points if it was before TN Tori's time.
Hold on, gaming time or birth time?
It's a sliding scale, apparently.
See, I assume I don't know the year. I believe I started in 2007.
Oh, that's easy if we're just going based on your gaming time.
Yeah, I was going to say, just based on game time, that'd be really easy.
I was gaming for 10 years before you started.
I mean, I can't help when I was born.
And I knew about gaming because of a vampire game that my cousins were part of 15 years before you started gaming.
My first kid was 6.
I was born in 91. So I was born in February of 91. Just to, yeah. But
I was almost done with high school.
I can't help it.
I started playing in 84.
Before I was born.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But it's okay, you look great for your age.
Just wait until I take all the makeup off.
You like peel off the Game Master Space Scooby-Doo style. Oh. You were almost done with uni back in 91. Yeah, I know. I'm the wee baby. I'm the wee baby of the group, but it's okay. I have a lot to learn.
No, but that's actually a good thing because it does mean that the gaming is going to continue.
Yeah. And well, and I'll add to it too. I mean, what's cool about it is it provides. Of course, I realize not everybody is open to new ideas, but those of us that are, it provides a different perspective than what we grew up with. And if we do have such an open mind, hearing younger voices that are in the industry of gaming, I don't think that's a bad thing at all.
I'm okay with ignoring some of them.
Yeah. It's,
Well, I'm okay just with the same side of that, different side of that same coin. I'm also okay ignoring some of the older people too that have been playing this game.
That's fair.
So
that's totally fair.
Yeah, because I don't have nostalgic attachments. What you guys talk about with like AD&D and stuff. Nothing. No. So because I don't have attachments, I can't get upset at things that have changed in stuff like that. So it is a different perspective for sure. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but even now where we're seeing like the post OGL flourish, as people have been calling it, where you have all these new systems that are coming out because of that. I mean, is that really a new thing? Because I feel like other systems have been around long before that, even in large quantity. Like I just think the OGL just highlighted it for people who are new to the hobby and were not privy to it before.
No, I would say the OGL suppressed it, because with the OGL, why make anything new? I can just piggyback off of D&D. Whereas in the old days, especially with how aggressive TSR was at suing everyone, it's like, no, I have to make my own game. I have to come up with my own system that does something different.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So I and the sad thing is even with the OGL debacle, I still don't think people are really innovating that much.
Yeah.
Like compared to like D&D to Traveler to Palladium to Twilight 2000 to Star Trek to all, like, and I'm talking the old school stuff.
Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah, those were they were radically different in how they played.
That makes sense. I hadn't actually thought about it in that way, because for people in my group or generation of gamers, the OGL debacle is kind of like the major thing of the time. Like, people are kind of out of the loop, and not everyone is a lore buff like I am, who just like wades around in lore and enjoys it happily. So I feel like that, it's like, oh, it's the OGL debacle, and it's like, guys, like, D&D has been through this a lot. There's a lot of controversy and such. If you guys have seen the Sly Flores show, he did an episode like two episodes ago, not that long ago, where he was talking about a podcast he watched about like sort of the dark side of Gary Gygax specifically, and a lot of the TSR stuff, where like it was not necessarily pretty, and he wasn't necessarily a saint. And so it's like, it's almost like a lot of that got forgotten. And so when the new OGL because when the OGL debacle first happened, I genuinely didn't understand what people were so upset about. It went real fast, and then all of a sudden YouTube was just flooded with, in fact, if I remember correctly, that's right around the time I found your channel, Game Masters, because you were one of the channels who was like, here's what's happening. Let's calm down, guys. Here's some information. And Bob World Builder, right around that same time, or rather, 1D&D was when I started watching Bob World Builder, because again, his videos were so not biased, but so many thumbnails and so many channels were just rah WotC and rah this and that, and I'm sitting here like, question mark? Because I didn't think that it was like that catastrophically bad. And plus the TSR stuff from before, where like D&D has survived, like the Satanic Panic. Like, really? I don't think the OGL debacle was quite as bad as the Satanic Panic, unless I'm completely off base.
No, you're right there. I mean, it was. I mean, I lived through that. I've been witness to a friend's mom taking our collection of D&D books, putting them in the backyard and setting them on fire. I mean, I witnessed that, but out of fear that we were going to conjure up Satan in the living room. I mean, I can laugh about it now, but I mean, back then, I mean, that was pretty devastating.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say 2 things to that. One, we didn't get the Satanic Panic here, so that sounds hilarious.
You also didn't get D&D there. No,
No, we got like Beck Me.
oh,
and then
come
we got
on,
the-
that was funny.
We just didn't get all the supplements, man. The supplements.
The Monster Compendium.
What's D&D without the supplements, man? But like, the other thing I was just going to say was some of us are still very high on saying that Watsy sucks, though.
I mean, and the weird thing about Watsy right now is I don't fall into the level of vitriol that some people have about it, but I also kind of get why they're upset. Especially when you consider it's not just one thing, it's the stacking. It's this plus that plus that plus this plus that. And by the time you get to where we are now, people are like, I'm so effing done. And so I can't blame them for feeling that way. I don't partake as much, but I don't blame them either. So I'm like right in the middle of that. So my generation's version of Satanic Panic was the Harry Potter book. So I had a friend when I was growing up, and her mom got on the bandwagon, and then it extended. Then it wasn't just Harry Potter books. They would actually go to the used bookstores and grab Stephen King and Dean Koontz books because they were also blasphemy in some way. And they had a little, like, they lived in like a trailer, and they had a little tiny, I mean, it was like this big by this big. It was really tiny wood stove type thing, and they were legit burning books, and I was so mad. I was like, I don't care how much you disagree with it, you should never be burning books. That's just, to me, that's like a huge sin.
Except the Necronomicon, we can allow that one. No, I'm just kidding.
For the sake that my dear darling partner Grim is going to see this in the morning, I'm going to say now that you should never burn Dean Koontz books, because that's a sin against humanity.
It was awful.
I've done my partnerly job now. So,
do you guys know, or if you have the little Tabasco bottles that are like yay big of Tabasco sauce? So I took one of those. I love Tabasco sauce, so I had been keeping the bottles. So I took one of those. I took the label off. I washed it all out. We went over to her house, and I grabbed some ashes out of from the burning books, and I put it inside the Tabasco bottle, and then I wired it, and then I put a chain around it, and I actually wore it as like a necklace talisman thing, and we kept it with us just like as a reminder, and to like kind of secretly honor the books that her parents hated so much, because it was such nonsense. I mean, just nonsense. Dean Koontz, what's not that I read any of them, but I'm smart enough to know that they're not like satanic in any way.
Aren't they like spy thrillers usually? I don't know. I've never read any.
I read one Dean Koontz book, and it was basically like a slightly more adultish version of X-Men, where they just got superpowers and ran around the country. That was it. I couldn't figure what about that would be so horrible, be worth burning. It's dumb. It's dumb.
So don't read too much into this about being Australian or anything, but the only thing that comes in small bottles like that, Tori, here is whiskey.
Yes. Hey, those are good for trying out whiskeys. Like I'd rather get one of those if I'm curious about something and they have one than buy a whole big bottle and find out I don't like it.
I speaking of those real quick, at the grocery store, I think like a couple years ago, they had that, like, just by the register, they had this massive like pillar display, all these little bottles. And I swear they had some tagline on it like Pokemon, collect them all. And it's just like...
Yes. Oh, they're so cute. Like, look, okay, so I have this at my desk, right? Because Steve got this, but it's just like a little, like, I can't rotate it properly to save my life, but like, and I mean, it's just, yay big. Like, they're so cute though. They're so cute.
Slot actually brings up a really good point. Every single era seems to have its own Satanic Panic, where he brings up the comics with the corruption of the innocent, and
Remember when it was rock and roll?
yeah, rock and roll, all that kind of stuff. So it is kind of the big difference I think between them is the Satanic Panic, corruption of the innocent, all that kind of stuff. Those are broadly culturally impacting, because the normies get involved, whereas the OGL was more or less internal, because it's like everyone's like, wait, why are the nerds fighting again?
Yeah.
But they didn't understand or really get involved. But I think you're right, Tori, where it was the stacking effect. It was the OGL, the Pinkertons. Like, think about it. All the nerds are like, wait. The Pinkertons still exist? Yeah.
And well, and then if you want to get into it further down the rabbit hole, like the whole Aragon magic card, the Spelljammer thing, there's the AI art, like there's just I mean, the AI art by itself would have been like frustrating and disappointing, but not a deal breaker. But when you add it into context, into the timeline of all of these decisions and all of these things happening, then it just starts getting like, I mean, look at me. Like, I could care less about any of that because I don't give WotC money, because I homebrew all my own crap. I don't need supplements. I really don't. I just need the core books. And I'm even like changing systems now, not because of disregard or dislike for WotC as much as I'm just excited about the new system. But even still, it was enough to make me go, okay, WotC, it was fun. See, it wasn't for me, and walk away to a new system. So, I mean, it's a lot when you add it all together.
Yeah.
I realize we're going over time, so Game Masters, if you need to head off.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to leave here soon. I'm basically waiting for Steve to pop in his head and go, we gotta go now. But but it was fun. I'll go ahead and bounce, because I do need to. We're about 15 out, but it was super fun, you guys. Thanks for having
us, Seraphis.
Yeah,
that's all right. As I said, I like just having a once a week thing where nerds get to chat about just the Drek.
Shit.
So, So this was as unproductive as it always is. So
all 2 times we've done it.
Yes. Yeah. And here's to many more. All right. Well, I don't know. Should I end the stream randomly? Like I started the stream randomly, or what do you think?
Like just start talking and just have it end in the middle of like whatever somebody is saying.
Exactly. That's how you end it, Seraphis. Come on.